And salutations. It is from a freezing in honor of it being episode number 60. My name is Jake Query, and that is Derek Schultz on the ISC Sports Network. Derek works here full-time and decided to put the thermostat at 60 degrees in honor of show number 60.
Oh, so you don't like it, huh?
It's a little chilly in here. Derek, I want to pull it. Like I feel like I should be. You know what I mean?
Don't you have a nice new warm house that you can go to?
I do.
Yeah. Well, maybe you could set the thermostat. Maybe you could set the thermostat in your nice new warm house.
Well, somebody seems a little bit upset. Well, what are you implying here with your passive aggressiveness?
You come back here after really the ultimate betrayal, and now you're trying to dictate what the temperature is in the room. I just find that a little interesting.
By ultimate betrayal, you mean the fact that I have sought and obtained full-time employment somewhere.
Yes. Well, it's not just a full-time job. Like, I got a full-time job back in December, but you now have another show. Not only that, but another host.
I do have
another one.
I don't know, though, Derek. Maybe I'm second fiddle now. Maybe I'm actually the...
I did get a kick out of that.
The undercard here. Kevin Bowen, who you see right here on my right. Kevin Bowen has long been a writer for 107.5 The Fan, 1070thefan.com, and, of course, took over on their morning show a couple of months ago, and they had a vacant seat, and so now it is Kevin and Query, the alphabetically appropriate, alliterated Kevin and Query show. Mornings from 7 to 10, and as you know, Derek, one thing you know about me, I am a morning guy through and through.
Oh, boy. I was worried about you. How are you feeling right now? Because for those that don't know, you literally drove right up here to do this show right after, right?
I look forward to going back. Will I get used to that, you think?
You never get used to mornings. You know that. You did IBC mornings way back.
Yeah, but here's the thing. When I did mornings on WIBC, it was at 4:30 in the morning. That's the middle of the night.
Sure.
This is early, 7 a.m., but I get up at like 6.
I did mornings. My first full-time job, I did mornings from about 6 a.m. I had to be there, and I did it for like 18 months, and I never got used to it. I always had to take naps afterwards. But in all seriousness, I'm thrilled for you. I think it's great. You know, a lot of people were asking me, people were acting like I got dumped, which I have a lot of experience with. But people were asking me like, oh, how do you feel? You know, one person was even like, was it hard for you? And I'm like, no, because as everybody knows, we're best friends. So I always root for you and you root for me. But I do think that in a way, we talk about the rocket ship and we kind of have fun with it, right, about the show. But this is 100% serious. We got let go in January of 2020, and the first real indie sports radio job opening was this one since we got let go. And who gets hired? Somebody from our show, you, right? I think that's really – don't you feel that way? Like, I think that's validation that the decision that had to do with us had nothing to do with us or the quality of the show or the quality of us as hosts. It was just one of those things that just happened.
Yeah, and look, it was important to me when MS Communications, which is the parent company, of course, of 93.5, 107.5, The Fan in Indianapolis, and I know, Derek, that you have a relationship with them as well. And when I was able to secure full-time employment with this opportunity, it was important to me, and I appreciate them allowing me to do so, to continue doing this as well, because we have a lot of fun with it. We've developed, a really good working chemistry between each other.
And a best friendship.
Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves. And it was, it was important for me to, just maintain that and keep you relevant, really, quite frankly.
Well, it's funny that you say that because when this job first opened up in September, David, who we both know, he's now your boss, calls me and he says, "You're my number one." He says, when can we get you in here? We want you to, we have to make it look like it's an opening, right? We have to, do an audition process and all that. I said, David, first off, I'm flattered. Thanks. I had a feeling you'd call. Secondly, my son has school at 7:30. My wife works overnights. Like, my schedule is not real conducive to a morning show, so I don't think it's a great fit. And he said, who do you think that I should hire? And I said, well, I listed about 7 or 8 people, and then I did mention you.
Was I the ninth you mentioned?
At the end of it.
Okay, well.
So I'm glad it ended up
appreciate it.
Going to you.
I listen, more than anything else, and I'm thrilled at the opportunity. I'm happy to be back on the airwaves and being able to continue, what we've been able to do and continue to do that with Kevin, who's a very bright guy and is really knowledgeable. And you know Kevin as well. He worked with the Colts when we were there, and you've got a relationship with him. So in that regard, all of it is good. I also am so incredibly relieved to have health insurance. I can't
employer match 401k.
And to have a 401k again as well. Yes.
Well, it's been an interesting, to say the least, 22 months, right?
Man, has it ever?
I'll tell you one more thing about this. A lot of people asked me along the way, because we're like linked or whatever. People were asking me while I was searching, hey, what's Jake gonna do? And I kind of jokingly said, I think he's just gonna wait around for an opening at 1070. And that's ended up what happening, right? I mean, it's crazy that it ended up sort of not to say that you weren't attempting other routes, but that always seemed to be kind of the thing.
When everything happened, I think all of us, I mean, I looked at it, okay, where is the place that I would be most comfortable? Where's the place that I would most want to end up? And it was there, admittedly. I'm still waiting for a call back from the one TV guy that brought me in for an audition and then never called, completely ghosted me.
Jeez.
Like, I'm okay with if you don't want to hire me, but like, why would you not call me back or answer my email?
Luckily, in the job search process for me, everyone calls back.
Is TV.
But if somebody's serious enough to bring you in for like an actual audition,
they called me. I didn't call them.
Then they should tell you. They should take the time to make a
weird, isn't it?
Minute and a half phone call,
right?
Or an email, even.
Yeah. So, but listen, I'm excited about it. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun. I think Kevin and I are gonna have a lot of fun, and to be able to do both and come in here and be able to have fun. I'm excited about that as well. And we have a lot of sponsors that have been really good to this show that it was important that we maintain and be able to continue forward and grow with what you and I have been able to build. And that includes a lot of the segments that we will get to today. And there is plenty to talk about, even though, Derek, the Colts did not play over the course of the weekend, but they might have seen the door slammed shut in the AFC South on them.
Yeah, because of what happened last night in Los Angeles. We kept kind of waiting. You kept looking forward at the Titans' schedule, and you said, oh, wow, they've got the Chiefs coming up. I'm talking about like in September. They've got the Chiefs. They've got the Rams. They've got the game here in Indianapolis, and historically they haven't necessarily played well in Indianapolis. And they just go through and bat. I mean, this is about as impressive of a 4-game win streak that I can even remember. And the funny thing is, Jake, is that I don't even think Tennessee's really that good.
Here's the thing.
Right? Am I wrong?
What I think is interesting about Tennessee, Derek, is Tennessee has, like a lot of teams in the NFL, give me a team off the top of your head that's a playoff caliber team.
The Patriots?
Okay. So the Patriots, that the way the Patriots win games is they get their quarterback into like kind of short rhythm passing, and then defensively they wait for you to make a mistake, and they don't. They're very disciplined. That's their blueprint. Every team has kind of an easy blueprint to how to beat them. Tennessee kind of has multiple blueprints. That's what makes them challenging is, okay, to beat Tennessee, you got to shut down Derrick Henry. Well, he's not there, and they're still winning games. Why is that? Well, against the Rams, it's because they were able to make this guy's life a living hell, Matt Stafford, right? Yeah. And completely get out there and disrupt and interrupt him. Other times, they get big games, let's say, out of A.J. Brown or Ryan Tannehill. There are multiple ways. So Tennessee's kind of tricky. I agree they're not blueprint outstanding, but they're pretty good in a couple of different areas in a couple of different ways.
I think what's really changed for Tennessee, like these last few teams, so the 2019 to present team compared to all of the teams from the teens, because the thing about Tennessee was that they were never really bad. They were just never any good. They have playmakers now. A.J. Brown is something who was the Titans' best receiver before A.J. Brown?
Correct.
Nate Washington?
Correct.
Kevin
Totally
Dyson?
Agree.
I mean,
right.
You know what I mean? They had a bunch of guys that were like, yeah, all right, they're okay. I remember they were waiting for years for Kenny Britt to do something,
yes.
and he never ended up doing anything. So I just think that mentality for me of the Titans are good now has been a hard hurdle for me to cross because the Colts have owned them for so long. But that's the beauty, I think, of if you're looking optimistically at the Colts right now at the halfway point, 4-5, optimistically speaking, if you could just get in the playoffs anyone is beatable. There's no 2019, 2020 Chiefs.
The other thing, Derek, with the AFC South basically being put out of reach last night, that was an impressive win for the Titans. Then you shift and you look at how the Colts can find their way into the playoffs. I think the Colts are going to make the playoffs, and the reason why is because look at the other teams that are in playoff contention. Cleveland, Cincinnati, by record, the teams that are right there in wild card contention. Mm-hmm. Okay, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Denver, the surprising Denver Broncos.
The entire AFC West, really.
Kansas City, the Raiders, the Chargers. These are all teams that have yet to play one another consistently and can cannibalize each other. And the Colts, on the other hand, still get Jacksonville twice. And then the two games that could be separation games for them, New England and Las Vegas, they have at Lucas Oil Stadium. Mm-hmm. So the Colts have a real benefit here after an absolute gauntlet at the beginning of the schedule to kind of maintain the course and just take care of their own business while everybody else throws each other off the ship.
And there are tough games left, even if they lose to Tampa and Arizona.
Correct.
Those are NFC games.
And if that is correct. If you beat New England and you beat Las Vegas.
Yeah. So you'd be 1-4 against the NFC, and you'd be 8-4 against everybody else if you were 9-8. And that would put you, I think, in a good – I still think the number is 10. You want to get –
correct.
You want to find a way to get to 10. But failing that, I actually think there's a backdoor for them at 9-8. But the other thing, Jake, is that all these other teams are saying the same thing. You know, Cleveland's even saying, "Hey,
no, I understand.
Look at where we are."
But Cleveland still has to play. Are they done with Cincinnati now? I don't know if they are.
I don't know.
Pittsburgh's in that. Yeah. Pittsburgh and Baltimore we didn't discuss.
Yeah.
You know,
God, Baltimore. They get behind like 14-0 every game and then win.
I know, including
it's wild.
I turn it on, and by the way, I was thinking about this. How many leagues, how many matchups can you think of where purple's the primary color for both teams on the field or on the court or on the diamond? Doesn't happen often, right?
Ooh.
It was
Vikes, Ravens.
Vikings, Ravens.
Purple.
Yeah.
Well, let's think here. The Jazz don't do purple anymore, right? They did the one for the
Sacramento
rebrand.
Does.
Actually, they do a little purple.
The Jazz don't know what color they are, right?
But is the Kings' primary color purple?
I don't know.
All of these teams have rebranded so many times that it's
Rockies
hard for me to
use some
remember.
purple.
Okay, is there another purple baseball team besides the Rockies?
I don't think so, right?
No, I don't think so either. Anyone else purple? let me look it up.
See?
Sports teams.
This is the kind of stuff, I'm telling you what, this is the kind of stuff that MS wanted to make sure they were paying for.
That wear
sidetrack of Purple League discussion. Prince like colored teams.
Okay. The National Hockey League's LA Kings. Major League Baseball's the Rockies.
Yep.
NFL is the Vikings and Ravens. Those are the only four teams that use purple as their primary color.
But then everybody's got it like in some secondary way, right?
A lot of people
do. The Philadelphia Eagles probably have a purple color rush outfit out there that they're using at some point. But anyway,
it does bother me. Like the Colts with the or the Jets with the black pants. Like, what was that? Black's not part of the Jets logo.
Right.
It's green. It's that beautiful bright green, right? I mean, they suck, so maybe regardless of what they're wearing, it doesn't matter.
The helmets looked good for the Jets there, right?
I love the helmets. I love that they went back to the 80s green. I wish they'd go back to the little airplane. Remember the T was the airplane?
Well, but you know, that's right. When
the J was the airplane. The cross of the J was the airplane, right? Like the Altoon, Ken O'Brien era New York Jets.
That's right. But then when people started wearing the airplane, like the cheeseheads, how they wear the block of cheese, Fireman Ed or Ted or whatever, he started wearing the airplane.
Whatever happened to that guy?
I don't know. He's doing commercials now.
Did he do something embarrassing that he's like persona non grata over there now? I think, right?
I think what happened was this. I think they have some sort of dispute over seat licensing or something, and he got upset and offended.
Yeah. Maybe that's
and made a big outcry about it.
I mean, these guys, our buddy Mike Bostic, they're I don't know if famous is the right word, but people know. Hey, there's the Tony Dungy guy, or there's the fireman guy.
Now, has Mike Bostic banged the anvil yet?
I don't think so. The Colts are they're at the point now where they're rotating old people to get in there. Like, Mathis has banged it again. Like, he already banged. McAfee's banged it multiple times.
Right.
Like,
Has
they should
Anthony
let...
Costanzo done it yet?
No, I don't think so. They should let him come back and do it. Luck would never say yes. But that'd be a good one to do it.
Here's the thing. There it is.
Yeah. It's beautiful, isn't it?
You want to...
Yeah.
It's heavy.
Be careful. Did you wash your hands?
Did I wash my hands?
Well, you're not supposed to smudge it. The oils from your fingers can rust it.
Where do we get that anvil?
Marty Bacon from the Noodle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Good buddy of both of ours. I don't know where he got it, but he just brought it in one day, and he was super excited about it, as all people are whenever they see the Ville.
So Costanzo has not yet banged the anvil.
I don't think so.
Has Andrew and there might be I may be completely missing here where you're going to go, Jake, how do you not remember this? But I'm old, and I got up early this morning. Has Andrew Luck been back in Lucas Oil Stadium publicly?
No. I don't think he's been back privately.
What would the reception be?
I would hope enough time has passed now where people will have gotten over it, but it might take another. I would guess, Jake, and this is just a guess. Andrew Luck is in that building one more time, and it's for like a Colts Ring of Honor ceremony, and that would be the only other time that he ever goes back. And it's not because he's like mad at the Colts. I don't think he has any interest of making it about him. I think he kind of had his time in the light, and he's done.
If you stopped right now, if you stopped Andrew Luck on the street right now and asked him to name the divisional leader in each division of the NFL, how many would he be able to name?
I think he'd be better able to do that in the Premier League than he would in the NFL.
We have a lot to get to today, though, right?
We do. Yeah, another huge win for Purdue and what that means for them going forward. So we'll talk a little college football. The college basketball season starts on Tuesday. Everybody opening up there, and it's I think there are reasons for excitement, certainly for Purdue, who looks like a real contender. I think there are reasons for excitement for Butler and Indiana, too.
Agreed.
Which we could talk about. I guess we're contractually obligated to mention the Pacers. They did actually win a basketball game the other night against the Kings. So we may get into that a little bit.
Contractually obligated.
I like daylight saving time.
Okay.
Everyone else hates it, which is weird to me. So I've drafted a defense of daylight saving time.
Okay.
Or sorry, it's Indiana. So daylight's savings times. So we'll talk about that coming up, and then all of our features that we have still left to get to.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Including our feature next, we're going to get to our IMCU, right? Player of the week. We'll also, later in the show, do our winner of the week. We have Biter Bullschultz to get to. We have our Sage Move of the Week. You had talked about Love That Play as well. So a lot to get to on this episode number 60. Derek has the name of some guy from like a gabillion years ago that was a two-way player that wore number 60, and we'll tell you who that is. We'll do it next. It's Query and Schultz here on ISC.
It's here. The moment that will define you. So think of this moment as your moment. The one you've been waiting for. You were built for it. And so were we. WGU, the online university where ambition never rests.
Hey, I'm Jeff Saturday, and my favorite thing when I was a professional football player was Indiana. The Hoosier State always made me feel like family. That's why I trust Indiana's hometown mortgage lender, Bailey & Wood. This family-owned company not only gives back to the communities they serve, but also with their 5-star customer service, they can close on your dream home in days, not weeks. So remember, Indiana, you can always get your mortgages at a snap with Bailey & Wood.
Hey, Jeff, how does this look? Yay!
Not bad, bud, but let's stick to mortgages.
Indiana dairy farmers provide us with safe, pure foods for our tables. A responsibility that takes intuition, resolve, and determination to make sure their milk is good for you and delicious to taste. Their connection with our community runs deep, passed down through the generations, ensuring that milk is always available at your store. It's not easy being a dairy farmer, but the rewards have special meaning when you can feed Indiana's families every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Welcome back. It's Query and Schultz, a show that still very much exists on ISC Sports Network, despite the best efforts of one of us sitting at this table. alongside
What the hell did I do?
Jay Query. I'm Derek Schultz, the unfaithful Jay Query. Thanks so much for joining us. Whether you're listening via podcast or watching on ISC, maybe you're watching on
Derek,
YouTube,
let me tell you something.
Comcast 81, lots of ways to consume this program.
Let me ask you right now.
Mm.
Do you want to pay the premiums after a myocardial infraction?
I do not.
Well, I got news for
Do
you.
people know, by the way, the backstory on how close you came to having a much more significant insurance bill? Are you are you comfortable mentioning?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll mention this.
I don't see any reason not
This
to
is
tell this story.
amazing.
Yeah, we're best friends, so I know this story already.
So 13 months ago, basically, I go in. As a matter of fact, I had left here and was driving back home and passed an establishment that had a big sign that I'd seen the day before saying free flu shots. And as everybody knows from COVID, the last year they were saying like this year you got to get your flu shot because of COVID. And I don't always do the flu shot. I mean, like when we were working at our old place, if they'd bring the nurses in. And,
that was convenient, yeah.
If I happen to be there that day, I'm okay, sure, I'll get one. But I haven't gotten one every year. But I thought, well, I'll get one. So I walked in to do my flu shot, and the lady said, well, I need your insurance card. And I said, well, I thought it's free. And she said, it is with insurance. Oh, no problem. And, of course, being the responsible adult that I am and also being, fiscally responsible, like any normal American, there was no way I was going to continue our COBRA coverage from our old job because it was like $13,000 a month if you'd like to keep your COBRA. So I just had my own independent insurance plan. And when I set it up, I said, listen, I'm just make it easy on me. Take it every month out of my debit card. Here's my card number, and I don't have to think about it, and I'm good to go, and eventually I'll get a job with insurance. So I give the lady my insurance card, and she comes back and says, I'm sorry, your card is invalid. And I said, well, that's impossible. I'm a very responsible citizen. No, so I called the insurance company, and they said, yeah, we canceled you for delinquent payment. And then it dawned on me, wait a minute. I had fraudulent activity on my debit card, and so they sent me a new one, and I had forgotten to update to them.
And this is like mid-October of last year.
Correct. So I thought to myself, well, I'll have to just go home and at some point call and get it. And I thought, you know what? And this is the only responsible decision I have made in my adulthood, aside from getting a job away from you. So I said, I'm just going to do it right now. So standing inside a grocery store for 40 minutes, I sat on the phone through the painstaking process of getting health insurance reactivated. I had to go get an entirely new policy, and the guy did say, now, do you have a history of any of the following? And I said, bud, let me cut you off right there. I am a Spartan Bill of Health. You guys are stealing money from me.
Totally got over on him.
Because I don't have any of those that you're going to name off to me. I have no issues whatsoever. So
no mention of your dumpster heart.
And I got the health insurance reactivated, got my flu shot, whatever. I think it was 12 days later.
Yeah, fewer than 2 weeks later.
I had the heart attack. Yeah. So I'm laying in the hospital at the heart hospital at Community, and they're like, do you have your insurance on you? And I'm like, I have insurance. I don't have my card on me. When I got out of the hospital, 31 hours in the hospital. When I got out of the hospital and went home, the top envelope in my mailbox were my insurance cards.
Oh, my God.
So I can't say I blame them for dropping
just
me.
What a great microcosm of just how your life goes, right? Just a great example.
Otherwise, I'm sitting on a little over $250,000.
Negligence, no big deal. Forgetfulness, whatever.
Thank goodness for insurance, man. And they did take care of me. Absolutely took care of me. It is time, Derek, as we do each and every week, for a couple of segments, including our IMCU, that is Indiana Members Credit Union, Player of the Week, going back to the Colts game against the Jets of New York, Jets, Jets. But, Derek, first off, if you are trying to avoid DEBTS, debts, no worries if you've got Indiana Members Credit Union, because financial responsibility is easy with Indiana Members Credit Union. Many things that we love about IMCU.
Free checking accounts, low auto rates, and more. All you have to do is go to imcu.com and see what IMCU can do for you.
imcu.com. Again, the best part about it, Indiana Members Credit Union. Don't be shipping your money out of state. Keep it right here locally. and be able to trust other Hoosiers like yourself.
I think it'd be easy to say Jonathan Taylor, Darius Leonard forced another turnover. Carson Wentz had a nice game. Michael Pittman had a great game. How about Nyheim Hines turning on the JETS Jets on that touchdown run? And I just think that he's such a wild card for them. It feels like when he plays well, they almost always win, right? And it's almost like they forget him sometimes.
So is he the proverbial X factor?
Sure. I just hate leaning on all the cliches. But yes, I would agree with that. I think he is I don't know if he's the X factor as much he's the put you over the top guy, where he just puts you that much.
Well, I think
over.
guys like that, Derek, are key. You know, think about Darren Sproles. I mean, I hate saying that name for Colts fans, right? But there are always guys that when they're on the field, defenses have to be honest, you know, and you got to be aware of where they are at all times, and that kind of springs other things open. A guy like Jonathan Taylor doesn't necessarily need people detracting defenses away, but it does open things up a little bit. So that's a good call. And Nyheim Hines.
Yeah.
So Nyheim Hines, our Indiana Members Credit Union Player of the Week.
You want to shift over to Purdue?
Boy, how about the Boilers, man?
I felt all week, and I felt this about the Notre Dame game, and they ended up losing it. I felt all week they were going to win. I did not expect them to explode the way that they did. You know, the big problem with Purdue, Jake, through the first half of the season was they were scoring 13 points like every game. Like literally exactly 13 points. They scored exactly 13 against Notre Dame, exactly 13 against Illinois, exactly 13 against Minnesota, and I think they scored 13, maybe it was 14 against Wisconsin. And they just couldn't get this offense out of neutral. Against Michigan State, they hit 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th gear. An all-time single-game passing record for Aiden O'Connell.
Yep.
And 30 first downs, 600 yards, a 40-burger of points. I mean, it was
40-burger.
It was impressive. And another top 5 win as an unranked team. Now they're 17th. Can you believe that?
Yep.
In school history, which is 6 more than the second most.
Couple of things here, Derek. First off, I sent a tweet about this kid. And by the way, these shirts available at The Shop Indy. That's theshopindy.com at 928, I think it is, Broad Ripple Avenue, right next to the old Union Jacks in Broad Ripple. Clay Terrace as well, or theshopindy.com. By the way, they also have a full slate of shirts for the Monon Bell game, which is coming up and can be seen right here on ISC Sports Network. I sent a tweet about David Bell that said, if David Bell was at Alabama, the Heisman company would, the engraving company would already have the Heisman en route back to Tuscaloosa. And Purdue fans got offended by that. I'm tired of this talk about if he were elsewhere. No, what I'm saying is it was a twofold tweet.
It was a
compliment of David Bell in Purdue, and it was kind of making light of the fact that if you are the lead receiver at Alabama, you're automatically in the conversation of the Heisman. That's all it meant. I don't know that David Bell is game-changing NFL caliber type receiver, but I do think that David Bell has long-term Reggie Wayne level skill at the NFL game because of the fact that he is a precise route runner, and if the ball's in the area, he is going to find a way to get it into his hands.
Yeah, I mean, if you're saying Reggie Wayne wasn't a game breaker the way Randy Moss or T.O. was, Reggie Wayne's still a borderline Hall of Fame receiver.
Correct.
So I think you'd sign up for that career if you were David Bell. Yeah, he's special. I mean, there's just nothing else to it. Unlike Alabama, where you could have so many people that you have to pay attention to, David Bell's literally the one person that opposing defenses game plan for every week, and he still does that.
You're right.
He still dunks all over them. I mean, 200 yards is insane, and he's getting $150 every single week, it seems like. And he is the guy that they're trying to take away. But I just think, Jake, that this Purdue team, we're really kind of underselling what this turnaround has been for them because they were not good the last 2 years.
Right.
And you can say what you want. Well, they were player two away. I guess. I mean, I don't think they were as bad as the 6-12 run, but I looked at their schedule this year and I thought if they can make a bowl game, that'd be great. They're going to go 8-4. They might go. They might do better than that. They might. I don't think it's. I was shocked when I saw Ohio State was favored by 21. I think that's a really
down to 19.
Okay, that's a really big number.
It is.
Because Ohio State is living a lot off their reputation of what they've been. If you actually look at what Ohio State has done this year, they really don't warrant the praise that they've gotten. I think the same thing about Alabama. Alabama's kind of struggled for them.
Two things here. Number one, going back to talking about the incident where thank goodness I had health insurance. Dr. Mottman, the cardiologist who you hear me mention all the time, he's a Michigan State guy. Went to Michigan State, graduated Michigan State. He texted me after the game and put, wow, Purdue is good. David Bell is sick. I'm like, yeah, man, he's really good. And he said, I hope they really beat someone up in a bowl. I thought that was cool for a Michigan State guy to, like, kind of tip the hat. But, David Bell is that good where you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
That guy is special. In terms of the Ohio State and the playoff committee, let me run this past you and you tell me if you think I'm crazy, okay? Right now, Cincinnati is just behind Ohio State in the college football playoffs in the rankings.
We're taping this on Monday. They come out with the new one.
And they come out with the new one each and every week to create conversation about the college football playoff.
Yeah, of course.
Ohio State, when you look at their remaining schedule, has Michigan State. Well, they have Purdue, obviously, and then Michigan State and Michigan.
3 ranked teams, we're assuming.
Followed by the Big Ten title game.
Mm-hmm.
So, assuming that Ohio State, the only way that Ohio State can get in is they can't afford a second loss.
No.
Okay? So, if Ohio State wins those games, they're in.
Agree.
Indisputably, they are in.
Agree.
So, to drop Cincinnati a bone, it's in the best interest of the playoff committee. I'm not saying they're going to do it, but if they were smart, they would do this. In tonight's rankings that are released, so by the time people are watching this, it might be null and void, but this week or next, they should vault Cincinnati ahead of Ohio State.
Cincinnati should never have been behind them.
Understood.
To this point.
Understood. But now is the time to put them ahead of Ohio State, because then you drop Cincinnati the bone of putting them in the conversation, and you look like the good guy, and you get everybody talking. Oh, Cincinnati vaulted Ohio State. Ohio State still isn't in. They know Ohio State's getting in if they win out. And then they can say to Cincinnati, hey, you know what, guys, we gave you the opportunity. But, boy, Ohio State went out and beat 3 ranked teams to close the year and the Big Ten championship game. We couldn't leave them out. And it looks like you did everything you could in charity for Cincinnati, and you get people talking about it.
They're not going to do that because Cincinnati struggled with whoever it was.
Well, they struggled with Tulsa, who Ohio State ended up beating by 21, but Ohio State struggled against Tulsa too.
They didn't need 2 goal line stands to beat them, but yeah.
Correct.
I'm with you. I think the college football playoff, I wonder if this is kind of one of those years where I shouldn't say 2019, because 2019 Ohio State, I know they lost to Clemson. That was a really great team. They just weren't as good as LSU. You had an historically good LSU team. The gap between Georgia and everybody else just seems
Georgia's awfully good. Their
really
defense
wide.
is really good.
I think you can kind of stick 2 through 7 into a blender. Maybe even less than that now that Michigan State lost. But I think, to me, I think you could put Ohio State, Alabama, Cincinnati, Oregon, all kind of on the same Oklahoma, all kind of on the same tier. I think you'd probably stop at Notre Dame would probably be the cutoff for that.
I don't put Michigan up there.
No,
either.
Notre Dame and Michigan I think would be the cutoff for that. I think Notre Dame and Michigan would be tier 2.
That's fair.
Even though, the funny thing about Cincinnati's resume is that Notre Dame's got Virginia, who's got a really good offense, but that's their last hurdle. They've got Georgia Tech and Stanford after that. Notre Dame's the odds-on favorite to go 11-1 right now.
Right.
And you would think that the committee would take that win a little more seriously than apparently they have, because it's far better than Ohio State's
it is odd. You're right.
best wins, which are Penn State, who's good, who's better than their record says they are, but not great, and their second best win's Minnesota, who just lost to Illinois.
I'm telling you, when Ohio State lost to Oregon, I told you then, they're still going to get in. It's going to be like the year they had Vatek. Ohio State is not only going to get in, Ohio State is the second best team in college football behind Georgia.
How about this? I think Alabama's going to lose again.
Well, they could lose to Georgia.
I think Alabama's going to lose either to Georgia. I think they might lose to Auburn. I think Alabama is going to have a second
they're
loss.
out.
Yeah. Alabama has to win the SEC in order to get in the playoff, I think.
I noticed you have milk, and you've already gone halfway through it.
I was thirsty. I was a little bit parched.
Here, I have the milk facts. Would you like me to get the milk facts?
I'm trying to remember who my winner of the week was. I was all excited about it. Oh, now I know. Okay.
While Derek is thinking of that, let me tell you about the American Dairy Association of Indiana. American Dairy Association of Indiana, you know because of the Indy 500 that winners drink milk. But do you know that after a workout, for example, good old-fashioned chocolate milk right here contains more carbohydrates than regular milk. It has I'm talking an 8-ounce serving here, right, of low-fat chocolate milk like I have right here after your workout. As much vitamin A as 2 boiled eggs. As much calcium. Where's the calcium here? I had the calcium. 10 cups of spinach. 10 cups of raw spinach right here in chocolate milk. And as well, potassium. As much
Yes.
potassium as a banana, which is important after a workout.
Get potassed.
Get potassed, he says.
I think that was the slogan from the Potassium Commission.
There's a potassium commission?
I thought there was.
No. The potassium commission slogan is everything's K.
What it starts with a P.
No, potassium K.
It's
They
P.
do
It's P-O.
baseball games for potassium. They have one that says Ks are more than strikeouts. Potassium. That's their catchphrase.
I'm not
the potassium ad folks had a big campaign with Major League Baseball. K is more than strikes. Potassium.
No, get you some potass, I think is what it is.
Okay. Well, while I'm enjoying my chocolate milk and my potassium, as well as my calcium, as well as my
Here's
vitamin
mine.
A.
As much as it pains me to say, I think Mike Vrabel's the winner of the week. Mike Vrabel was a guy that when he got hired, I was happy the Colts didn't hire him because remember that was that same cycle where the Titans and Colts both had openings because I thought he was kind of old school like meathead guy, not open to analytics or anything like that. And he's made some decisions like to punt in the playoff game last year, which was a really poor decision and not aggressive. And I thought, okay, fine.
Poor decision
he's
and not aggressive.
He's not good.
I think
He's
of
not
you,
good at
Derek,
what he's doing.
You when I think of you, I immediately think aggressive.
I think you have to. Well, that's what other people think, at least males. That's
aggressive.
That's all wrong, apparently, because the results are there for Vrabel. What they're doing now without Derrick Henry. Say what you want, because I don't think Tennessee's great. I don't, but the results are what they are, right? And that was about as impressive of a 4-game winning streak as you could have possibly had. They got another tough game. They got the Saints coming up this week. Just watch them lose that game because now they get past the Rams and the Saints have a downer.
Give it and take it away,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, I mean, I would feel like that's a prime kind of slot for Tennessee to disappoint. But barring a complete collapse, the AFC South is going to be theirs.
Over the weekend, by the way, we moved the hands on our clock. Derek has his thoughts on that we'll get to. And our Sage Move of the Week brought to you by WGU Indiana. That is still yet to come. We'll do it next, as a matter of fact. Query and Schultz here on ISC Sports Network.
It's here. The moment that will define you. So think of this moment as your moment. The one you've been waiting for. You were built for it. And so were we. WGU, the online university where ambition never rests.
Meet Kate. She has a lot to juggle. Family, work, it can lead to trying days and tired nights. But we know Kate, and at Indiana Members Credit Union, we know at some point her space at a premium life may change. IMCU is here to help Kate and you find your space. Now, add on or remodel with an introductory rate of 1.9% APR on a home equity line of credit. Today, it's all about Kate. Tomorrow, it's all about you. Because at IMCU, it's you that matters.
Indiana dairy farmers provide us with safe, pure foods for our tables. A responsibility that takes intuition, resolve, and determination to make sure their milk is good for you and delicious to taste. Their connection with our community runs deep, passed down through the generations, ensuring that milk is always available at your store. It's not easy being a dairy farmer, but the rewards have special meaning when you can feed Indiana's families every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
It's Query and Schultz. Thanks so much for joining us here on ISC Sports
Very
Network.
enthusiastic.
I'm excited. One of us has maintained excitement about this partnership and about this show. One of us has looked for other partnerships elsewhere. But
hey,
this is an open relationship. I've been in open relationships before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Can you
So-
please elaborate on the last time
If
you were in an
you-
open relationship?
If
I'd
this
li-
is
I'd li-
what you want in our open relationship,
Let me ask
I
you
guess
something.
I have to be okay with that. And
the
I'm
last-
free to pursue other shows and Indie Monthly and other things. So
The last time that you were in an open relationship, did it also turn out that you were actually the one that was not necessarily the open end of the relationship.
The problem with my one previous open relationship was that I was not aware that it was an open relationship.
I'm sure, yeah.
Until very late in the whole process. And so I was not able to take advantage of the openness of said
You
relationship.
didn't exercise all options.
Because I didn't know those options were available.
Okay.
It's kind of
Sounds vaguely familiar.
it's a little bit stunning for me. Bailey and Wood Financial Group can't possibly be happy about that being the segue into
sure they're
us
thrilled.
talking about them. But
BAWFG.com, right?
they are Indiana's mortgage lender.
That's right.
Mike Wood and his team will take care of you, whether you're looking to refinance, maybe you're looking to get pre-approval for a new home, basically anything as it has to do with home mortgages. Call up our friends at Bailey and Wood Financial Group, 855-350-HOME, BAWFG.com. Mortgages in a snap, as you see with Jeff Saturday and the spots that they run.
Pressure's on now, right?
And how about this? And I'm
Oh,
not sure if
that was
Mike's
better.
happy about this or not, because I don't know actually what their first round pick status is, like it is with the Colts. Dolphins actually got a dub. They beat the
that's
Texans.
right. He's
So
a
in a
Dolphins fan.
battle of who is the absolute worst team in the NFL, we found out that it was
And
Houston.
that was Jacoby Brissett leading the Dolphins,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, because Tua had something else pop up.
Finger.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's hard for him to
Look at
snap.
you. Well, you got a new show, and now you know all the stuff that's going on. Wow.
That's- well, the new guy.
Well, it's
that-
actually it's a fracture in his metatarsal. Okay, man, great. I'm glad you got a show.
Derek, Kevin Bowen, that I do the show with from 7 to 10 on 107.5 The Fan, keeps me abreast of things.
Mm-hmm. He is a smart guy.
Very smart guy. Very, very smart guy.
Let's get into. We were going to talk about daylight saving. Am I missing something? Oh
The
yeah,
Sage
college
move
hoops.
of the week.
Oh, let's do that. Okay, we'll do Sage's move of the week first, and then we'll get into college hoops.
Sage Move of the Week is brought to you each and every week by WGU Indiana. Whether you're thinking about going back to school because you have a degree that you kind of shelved because life got in the way, or maybe you're simply thinking to yourself, I'd like to pursue a college degree for the very first time. No worries, because WGU Indiana allows you to work with the flexibility of your own schedule. Ambition never rests, and at those times when you're feeling restless about your future, WGU has the answer for you. WGU.edu/Indiana is where you can find all of the courses available and the degrees available to you at Indiana's largest online accredited university. Again, that's WGU.edu/Indiana. The Sage Move of the Week. Derek, there's Sage right there. Hold
Is
on.
it boring to pick this one? You tell me. Because I was just watching him.
Sage right here.
I was watching him play again, and I'm like, this guy, he's just so polished. Like, he just looks like he belongs already, and he shouldn't. And I know he's older, but taking Chris Duarte 13th.
I don't
Like,
think that's boring. I
if
totally
you're,
agree.
If you're thinking of like the best case scenario for the 13th pick in the modern
I
age
know.
NBA draft, isn't it him? And everybody said, he's old, so he's only going to be so good. He's only going to be like a rotational piece. And I'm like, he's already clearly
Derek,
an NBA caliber starter. Clearly.
Here's what's interesting about Chris Duarte. And I was thinking about this yesterday. I thought, wait a minute, I completely forgot about TJ Warren.
I know. Yeah. Who?
I mean,
Yeah.
when TJ Warren comes back, if he comes back, and I don't mean that as a knock on him at all. I mean, TJ Warren is starting to work back into, like, he's becoming more mobile here, coming off of the foot issues. But between Duarte can play at a couple different positions. Malcolm Brogdon is out. Duarte's getting minutes. Karis LeVert is there. TJ McConnell is still getting significant minutes at the point. But Duarte can play a couple of different positions. And, Derek, I mentioned this before. What's fascinating to me is, yes, it is true that he is, 24 years old? I mean, he's an older rookie.
He's older.
But when he is on the floor, other players are looking to him. They're following kind of his lead. And for the Pacers being a team that we've talked about forever, what are they going to do? Sabonis Turner. Now the question becomes Brogdon, Duarte, Warren, LeVert, who gets kind of squeezed out here? It's a good luxury to have. I don't know, but it's not going to be Duarte.
Warren's in a contract year, so I think that's going to take care of itself. Not saying that he's absolutely gone, but the question is, let's assume that Brogdon comes back to the lineup and then Warren is ready. I think you have to stick with Duarte. And I think Warren would be a better fit as a six-man anyway because McConnell and some of the bench is offensively limited, so he can be your offense guy with that rotation. But Duarte is just one of those guys, and again, we're going to reach into the bag of cliches. He just always seems to make the right play. whether it be a pass, a shot, every decision that he makes seems to be the right one. Whereas you see a lot of rookies come in and, albeit they're younger, they're kind of feeling their way around. There was no learning curve seemingly for Chris Duarte. He feels like he's a veteran signing more than he was a draft pick.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's a good call, though. The decision to take Chris Duarte out of Oregon, the Sage move of the week, might be the Sage move of the year, the way that it's going. Derek, you moved. Let me think. We spring forward. You moved and fall back. You moved the clock backward.
Yes,
and you don't mind that.
No.
It got dark really early yesterday, though.
You guys in Indiana complaining about that. And Jordan, who's another East Coast guy, he was a little less East Coast than I was, can attest to this. When I was a kid,
he's a little less East Coast than you were.
Well, he was a little more inland than I was. I was 10 minutes from Long Island Sound. Like, I was basically on the water. Yeah.
Did you spend much time in the water?
Well, no, in the 80s in Long Island Sound, you weren't actually even allowed in the water, I don't think. There were, like, syringes and toxic waste and all of that stuff in there. And then they started to clean it up a little bit.
So it wasn't really a coast.
It was a coast. Like Fairfield Beach, we would go to a lot, which is great.
What'd you do on Fairfield Beach?
We'd go to the 7-Eleven and get flasks of Majorska and put them in Slurpees and then take the Slurpees out to the beach and then throw the Frisbee around and smoke cigarettes.
Majorska?
Yeah. It was like the little flasks were $5.99.
And what kind of alcohol was that?
Vodka.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'd have vodka slushies.
Mm-hmm.
What flavor slushies you go with?
Whatever was there, but usually if they had the Mountain Dew one, I'd do that one.
So not slush puppies. You were just doing the
No, Slurpee. You know what a Slurpee is?
I know what a Slurpee is.
We would go to Sev's and we'd get Slurpees and put Majorska
but you
in
said
them.
slushies. Slushy's a slush puppy where you get the little sugared
it's
ice.
It's different. This is
and
like
then you add the syrup yourself.
This is a patented trademark thing for Sev's that you'd go and you
7-Eleven.
get a Slurpee. Sev's.
But you said slushy.
People call it Sev's for short. 7-Eleven.
Okay. So you would go to the 7-Eleven and you would get yourself a frozen soft drink and add to it a cheap vodka.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'd smoke menthol cigarettes and throw the Frisbee around.
Yep.
Okay. Pick up a lot of babes doing this?
Is
that the start of your open relationship?
I mostly had guy friends,
Okay.
but
Shocking.
there were girls at the beach, so yes.
Okay.
They were also there.
Okay.
Be kind of nervous to talk to them, though. I mean,
that's where the
totally honest with
Majeski
you.
comes into play or whatever it was called.
Want to toss a disc around?
I'm sure that picked up the
A lot of times that didn't work. But getting back to daylight saving time, when I would get off the bus from school at like 3:30 in December in Connecticut, it was dusk. I mean, we're still on the tail end of the Eastern time zone. So people complaining about it getting dark when it was 5. I mean, I think it's great because what I grew up with, it literally did get dark like in the middle of the afternoon.
For me, the one thing that I was thankful for this morning, for example, driving into work, and that's a strange phrase still to think, but doing a morning radio show, I mean, the sun was up by like 7:15, 7:30, so it wasn't terrible, right? That's going to obviously be different in a month. But I tend to agree with you, Derek, I like it because in the summertime, I like the extra hour even though you get a long day anyway. It is fun in the summer when it gets dark at like 10 o'clock at night.
You know what I would do as a compromise? And you'll like this because you want everything to be like it was in 1992. Indiana should just go back to being Central Time in the summer and Eastern Time the rest of the year. Didn't you guys used to do that?
Yeah, but
I used to come and visit.
But in the summertime, I like the extra hour at the end of the day.
I like that too, but now that my kid is in school, it was still pitch black at like 7:30 last week until we finally, and it didn't get light until like 8 a.m. And I was kind of like, this is weird.
Here's my thought on it. Whatever. I mean, I've lived half of my lives, with the two different things. It was weird in St. Louis being on the far eastern end of the Central Time Zone when it was dark at like 4 o'clock. Yeah.
Or Chicago.
But I don't understand why people get so worked up over it.
I think
and
people
want to debate it for hours.
They don't like
end.
the time change because of their kids. Like, Jordan, did your kids wake up super early? Do they wake up the way they always do? Yeah. See, my kid doesn't wake up unless we go in there to get him. My kid woke up at like 7:45.
So he's like me.
Yeah, it was great. And I was like, all right, buddy, you ready to get up? Yeah, Daddy. I was like, sweet. Like some kids, like my niece she's bouncing off the walls at 4:30 with the time change because she's up at 5:30 because that's when Dan who tried to fight you, and Abby wake up because they're both He's a school teacher.
How would that have gone if Dan would have tried to actually fight
Dan's
me?
not. He's like the nicest dude in the world. He's not aggressive at all.
Oh,
but he will defend my sister's honor,
was
which is
that
great.
day.
He's the best brother-in-law ever because I know for sure that he will do everything that he can to. I don't need to step in or be protective of my sisters because
Well,
I used to do that because I was the oldest.
You're triplets.
Yeah, but I'm the oldest by 2 and 4 minutes. So I was the big brother, so I had to be the big brother in those situations, and now my brother-in-law can handle that.
Okay.
So was anything in there factually inaccurate?
I'd like to know the number of roles you've served in your life where big was the adjective.
I was the big brother.
Okay.
And people can say, well, there's no – look, I emerged from the birth canal first, so I was the first – I am the oldest.
Do you recall this? Like, were you pushing people out of the way?
No, but that's what it says on the birth certificate compared to my sisters. 1022, 1024, 1026.
Okay.
It was on a plaque at Yale New Haven Hospital in Connecticut.
Where is the plaque now?
I haven't been into Yale New Haven Hospital in a second. Usually it's like a big thing, and they're busy right now. They've got other stuff going on. I don't want to have them sound the trumpets every time that we walk in there. The miracle baby's here,
Right. I'm sure it's a big deal, right?
It is.
Because at Yale, they haven't created any sort of greatness outside of that at Yale University.
They're not known for much else besides the delivery of the Schultz triplets.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you think so.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What else do we have to get to here?
College hoops.
Okay.
A couple more features as well. Also, I want to tell you about my great friends at Chateau Kitchens. If you can handle this, Jake, I'll tell you this story. ChateauKitchens.com, at Chateau Kitchens.
You want to put the hat on, though?
On Instagram and Twitter. Actually, you know what? I'm having a pretty good hair day, so I'm gonna leave it off.
If you think so.
We're picking out a toilet right now with Megan, who's our designer, and we've kind of gone like Kohler and Delta with some of the other brands. I'm trying to stay things, keep it continuity-wise, but I've been researching toilets to see which one would be kind of the best fit. And you kind of realize in your adult life that, what am I doing? I'm actually like looking through toilets to see length and is it elongated? Is it not? Comfort level. You can get one with a heated seat on it?
Okay.
I'm not going to get that,
Right,
but you can. Or one with a bidet.
Okay.
Well, you have to hook up the bidet, though. I don't know if have you ever done that before?
I was in
bidet?
France, and we did not have a bidet.
Okay. Because I went to England, and they did. And
Really?
I tried it, and I was like, it was a little much.
Keep it moving.
It really cleaned, though. Like, it really, really did a good job of getting it spick and span, if you know what I mean. But no, we're not going to do that with any of the toilets. So I don't know. That was just the story that we're going to order the toilet with Chateau.
That was your story?
Well, you have to pick out everything. So you have to pick out like a light fixture. You have to pick out a faucet. You have to pick out a shower head.
But you like doing it because it's the great folks at Chateau.
Oh, it's a lot of
Kitchens,
fun.
right?
Yeah, I love it. But I did not expect to someday
obviously
in my
the track
adult life
record.
be
The
researching
track
toilets.
record speaks for itself, right? And what they've done
100%.
for you.
Yeah, they're every project that we do in that house. We've already done the kitchen with them. We're going to do the basement with them at some point. Everything that we do interior-wise, we're going to do with Chateau. There's not going to be anybody else.
Okay.
They, unlike this person, I am in a committed relationship with Chateau Kitchens. Like, you're not going to see me sniffing around, skulking around. Hey, you got a show for me? You got another host for me? Like, you're not going to see me do that with Chateau.
Chateau Kitchens, by the way, what's their website?
ChateauKitchens.com.
ChateauKitchens.com.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, ChateauKitchens.com.
They're great.
All right.
And they're going to do great
You
work
love
for
them, right?
Yeah, Steve and Megan, the whole crew over there. Victoria was our original designer for the kitchen project. Great people, great workers.
Love that play, by the way. Speaking of love that play from Love Heating and Air Conditioning is what we're going to get to next. You're watching Query and Schultz on ISC.
Indiana dairy farmers provide us with safe, pure foods for our tables. A responsibility that takes intuition, resolve, and determination to make sure their milk is good for you and delicious to taste. Their connection with our community runs deep, passed down through the generations, ensuring that milk is always available at your store. It's not easy being a dairy farmer, but the rewards have special meaning when you can feed Indiana's families every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
It's here. The moment that will define you. So think of this moment as your moment. The one you've been waiting for. You were built for it. And so were we. WGU, the online university where ambition never rests.
Hey, I'm Jeff Saturday, and my favorite thing when I was a professional football player was Indiana. The Hoosier State always made me feel like family. That's why I trust Indiana's hometown mortgage lender, Bailey & Wood. This family-owned company not only gives back to the communities they serve, but also with their 5-star customer service, they can close on your dream home in days, not weeks. So remember, Indiana, you can always get your mortgages at a snap with Bailey & Wood.
Hey, Jeff, how does this look? Yay!
Not bad, bud, but let's stick to mortgages.
Welcome back to Query and Schultz here on ISC. Derek, college basketball is upon us. Before we get to Love That Play, we should talk about what you folks should do when getting set to watch some college basketball this week. Why not get yourself some Smoke and Barrel barbecue from the east side in Indianapolis, Derek, and that includes the brisket tacos.
Oh, yeah. Brisket tacos, burn ends, pulled pork, everything. Anything and everything at Smoke and Barrel Barbecue is absolutely delicious. And we still have to do a friend date over
Friend
there.
date.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have the trust be repaired between us, which you've got a lot of
It's
work
actually
to do when it
funny
comes to
because they
that.
told me, they said, Kevin Bowen and I, since we're working together, like, you guys get to know each other a little bit better before you get on the air together. And I said, oh, well, like, he and I are supposed to go out and get some Smoke and Barrel barbecue. Barbecue in a bingo hall.
You know what? Just because I like Mike and CJ so much, if you want to go with the other host of the other show that you do, I am perfectly fine with that.
Okay.
At least you're telling me up front instead of going behind my back and doing it. So,
Which is what happened in the last open relationship you had, right?
Jeez. But in a bingo hall over there on German Church Road, far east side, it is worth it. Even if you're not on that side of town, absolutely worth it to go over there and check it out. It is the best barbecue that I have ever had.
And not only that, look, there are a lot of places, we all know, that you can get barbecue, but you want to do it at a place that is not only local, Derek, but the family value that comes with it too, right? It's a win-win all the way around.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they're just we kind of talked about it with Chateau. You're fans of people, not just the work that they do. And Chateau does great work, but they're great people.
Right.
Mike and CJ make great food, but they're just amazing people, husband and wife team.
Finding them online to find out exactly what you want to order or to get your order in ahead of time, you do so how?
SmokeandBarrelBarbecue.com, separated by little hyphens, and only no G on smoking. So
Okay.
just like the logo, smoking, SMOKIN, barrel, 1L, barbecue.com. But I think it's BBQ for the website. Let me make sure that that's right. Well, you're the one that put me on the spot here with
The
this.
attention-
I'm 98% sure that that's right.
Let me tell you
Smoking,
something.
barrel.
If you're starving for barbecue, we have your answer. If you're starving for attention to detail, we might leave you a little to be desired, right?
No internet. Did the wireless go down in here?
Okay.
Let me refresh here. Yep, here it is. It is BBQ.
Okay.
Sorry,
so
we had
again,
an internet issue in there for a second.
so the website is
SmokingBarrelBarbecue.com with
Gotcha.
dashes in between. And
bbq.com.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Also, each and every week, by the way, speaking of college basketball, love that play is coming up. But, Derek, you know this is happening in November. Let's begin with what I think is going to be a top 5 team in college basketball. And if they stay healthy, and I hate to knock on wood with Purdue to say that that's always a question mark for the Boilers, but boy, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a roster in college basketball that is as complete as Purdue's. I think that Matt Painter's got a real shot here at going deep this year.
The problem for Purdue is that you can only put 5 guys on the floor at the same time, right? If you were playing 7-on-7, then they'd have the best team, I think, in the country. But really deep. They've got a lot of guys who can score and defend, and they have 3 of the top 25-ish players in America. We're assuming if Jaden Ivey continues his rise.
Right.
Everyone's talking about Zach Edey and saying that, I think there was this feeling that, oh, here's another big guy. He's
Right.
going to be Haas. He's going to be A.J. Hammonds or somebody, or Matt Harms. And
right.
no offense to those guys. I mean, those guys were really good college basketball players, all 3 of them. Like, Zach Edey's got the chance to be, like, All-American, first-team All-Big Ten level good. And then Travion Williams, who it feels like he's been there forever because he's played since day one,
Good
but
player,
now entering his senior year.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that they look like they're going to be really strong, man.
But I'm very high, and you know, Jake, we've certainly taken our pot shots at IU basketball over the last couple of years. I think they're going to be really good too.
No, I think Indiana's going to be
like a top 25 level.
I would agree with that.
On the fringe of that, but a top 25 level team.
Here's what I think about Indiana, and I'm going to go in the Wayback Machine here, okay? When the year that John Feinstein wrote A Season on the Brink, which was they were coming off of the colossal disappointment to Cleveland State in the 85 season. That 86 season, they're bouncing back from that, and they were a solid 16 to 18 ranked team all year long that I think went like 22-8 or 24-8 or something like that, and then got into the tournament. And I'm sorry, 86 was the Cleveland State year.
Yeah.
They were coming off the colossal 85 NIT year. Sorry, the chair throw year. But they got themselves into the tournament. They played for the Big Ten championship against Michigan, and that's when they got bounced by Cleveland State. But, that team was good all year long. They were interesting all year long. They were ranked in lower half of the top 20 back then, or top 25 now. I think that's what Indiana's going to be this year. I think Indiana's going to be, probably right there in the 16 to 17 to 25 ranking, oscillating around a little bit. I think they're going to be a top 4 team in the Big Ten. I really do. I mean, the Big Ten's very good.
That's high praise, yeah, because there's some good teams. Michigan, Illinois, et cetera.
But I do think that they're going to play a little more open. I think people that think that because Mike Woodson is there that Indiana's going to be playing nothing but half-court man-to-man sets and, or half-court motion offense and then man-to-man sets because Mike Woodson's there and he's a coach night guy. No, they're going to be opened up. They're going to be, I think that you're going to see a faster pace Indiana team. And they've got some talent. I mean, Christian Lander now I think is going to get the ball in his hands more often than he did a year ago. Trace Jackson-Davis is going to have the ability to be able to run the floor. They've got nice pieces, does Indiana. I think they're going to be good.
Yeah, I would agree with everything you said. I think people know Woodson is going to be more of the NBA guy than the night guy, even if he has some of the night pillars, if you will, about him as a coach and philosophies. But I'm excited to just have them be watchable.
What about Butler? Did you have tickets again this year?
No, we ended up not doing that. Just, to each their own, but indoors and COVID. And, we just decided. My dad's in his 70s, and we're all vaccinated and all that, but that's just a decision that we made as a family, which it sucks because I'm going to miss it again now for the second straight year. But Butler returns everybody. The problem is that they stunk last year.
Right.
So everybody's going to have to be a lot better. Aaron Thompson, now as a senior, you've got a lot of guys and with a lot of experience. I'm really interested to see what step Chuck Harris takes forward too, because he was kind of a good young player for them. I think Butler's probably like a middle tier Big East team that will be a fringe NCAA tournament team.
That's fair.
But this is a big year for LaVall Jordan because they're going to have to show that the last year was an aberration.
And Derek, not only for that reason is it a big year for LaVall Jordan, but that means it's a big year for Butler basketball because if LaVall Jordan is to the point where Butler feels like they need to make a coaching change, LaVall Jordan kind of feels like the last of the coaching tree, keeping it within the family itself. And then does Butler go and use their new national profile for a national search and get somebody in that did not have connections?
Yeah, I mean, who would be the next Butler guy, right?
Right.
I mean, maybe Michael Lewis was an assistant there, right? And he's now at UCLA.
Yeah.
I mean, if you offered him a Power 6 head coaching job.
Is Lewis at UCLA now? I was thinking
he was last year. Did he take another job?
You might be
right. He was
kind
of briefly discussed as a possible Indiana candidate. I think he was more of a candidate for the job that Dane Fife got, where they don't say head coach in waiting, but I think that's how they're treating Dane, right? Wouldn't you think that?
I would think so.
Yeah, Mike Woodson has 5 or 6 years probably, and then you would transition into Dane Fife.
This is opening a can of worms, Derek. And I know I am preparing myself right now for complete mockery from Heath and anybody else, right?
Oh, I know what's coming. Yeah.
I still believe, and I mean, even now it's even more remote because of the job that he now has. But before they just hand it over to Dane Fife, they will place a call to Brad Stevens. I'm not saying Brad Stevens would have any interest in it.
Oh, of course they'll call him.
I think that's also why Thad Matta is in Bloomington.
I just think with Brad, clearly in Boston, he was tired of the spotlight and scrutiny of being a head coach. Not that you don't get that as an executive,
right?
But you're a little more sheltered from that as an executive, and he knows that NBA coaches get chewed up and spit out all the time. I'm 100% convinced that he'd do a great job as a college coach again, wherever he would go, but I just don't know.
It certainly feels
he's been away for 10 years now.
And Derek, being the president of the Boston Celtics makes it even that much more difficult to walk from that.
And the other thing, Jake, is that, in the pros, it's far more about the job and less about the bullcrap. And you just get into that pressure cooker in college sports and a big attention-driven program like Indiana, and there's so much BS that you have to wade through.
Right.
The UK job in Calipari, that's why I've always felt like Calipari's done a great job, is because how much BS does that guy have to go through every day?
He also just landed the top recruiting class once again, John Calipari, for next year.
Yeah.
Time for Love That Play, brought to you by the good guys at Love Heating and Air Conditioning. Love-HVAC.com is their website. 317-353-2141 is the telephone number. That's 317-353-2141. Love Heating and Cooling has been around for over 100 years. Since 1920, a family-owned business in central Indiana, serving in, of course, Marion and all of the donut counties. Great product, quality of product, knowledge of product, commitment to customer service, 24-hour on-call service. That's what you get from Love Heating and Air Conditioning, love-hvac.com. Each week bringing us, Derek, our favorite play of the week. Your nominee is?
Just a team that I've always really appreciated, and I know that you kind of like this team as well, even though you've talked about them a lot less this year because they're not as relevant. But I thought what DJ and Clemson did, rallying late against Louisville.
Look at you.
Was a Love That Play worthy. Finally, you get a great game from them. 30 points for that Clemson offense feels like 60, right?
That offense has been stagnant, man.
It's
been an issue.
Oh my God, they've been so awful this year. But
it's weird though. They're
now 6-3.
Yeah, they're 6-3. Like they're probably going to go possibly a 9-3 season, and that feels like a massive disappointment.
Well, who did they finish with? I mean, South Carolina.
South Carolina.
But who are the two ACC
they
games?
Have UConn Saturday.
Oh God. Oh, and Wake.
Yeah.
But they're at home for Wake.
Wake is pretty good.
Wake is who I think we thought they were.
You think so?
Yeah. Wake is pretty good. I will agree with that. Wake is a lot closer to the 20th best team in the country than the second best team in the country.
We also could have nominated once again. Just simply want to say, fabulous performance for David Bell.
We can't pick him every week.
Yeah, you're right.
So he
merits
David
being
Bell
picked every week,
every single week.
But I am cool with, and I'll tell you what, John and Molly Love. Molly's daughter went to Clemson, so they would be perfectly fine with, in fact, Clemson being our Love That Play.
I'm fine with it too.
All right. Buy it or bullshit's brought by the shop next.
We'll wrap it up.
All right.
It's Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network.
Indiana dairy farmers provide us with safe, pure foods for our tables. A responsibility that takes intuition, resolve, and determination to make sure their milk is good for you and delicious to taste. Their connection with our community runs deep, passed down through the generations, ensuring that milk is always available at your store. It's not easy being a dairy farmer, but the rewards have special meaning when you can feed Indiana's families every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Hey, I'm Jeff Saturday, and my favorite thing when I was a professional football player was Indiana. The Hoosier State always made me feel like family. That's why I trust Indiana's hometown mortgage lender, Bailey & Wood. This family-owned company not only gives back to the communities they serve, but also with their 5-star customer service, they can close on your dream home in days, not weeks. So remember, Indiana, you can always get your mortgages at a snap with Bailey & Wood.
Hey, Jeff, how does this look? Yay!
Not bad, bud, but let's stick to mortgages.
It's here. The moment that will define you. So think of this moment as your moment. The one you've been waiting for. You were built for it. And so were we. WGU, the online university where ambition never rests.
time. It's Query and Schultz here on ISC Sports Network. Thanks so much for joining us. Colts back at home again on Sunday, which means our friends at Only Indy Tickets are going to be busy.
That's right.
OnlyIndyTickets.com. And I just looked this morning, and coming off a win, the price is a little bit higher than they were last week for the Thursday night game, but still under $40 to get in the door against Jacksonville.
And, Derek, here's the key for Only Indy Tickets. Not only are you talking about great prices for the game, but also guaranteed tickets, right?
100% guarantee that they give you that the tickets are going to be authentic, and if for some reason that they're not, they're going to make that right for you. But something else that we're just introducing for this week, they've been great philanthropic-wise, and they appreciate that, especially about you and our aspect of this show. 5% of the proceeds from the ticket sales at OnlyIndyTickets.com are going to go to the Children's Bureau, Inc.
Beautiful.
Who's a foundation that's close to both of our hearts. We've done that celebrity cook-off a couple of years. You had a huge year. Was it the COVID year when they did it virtual, where you raised like $10,000 or something, right?
Well, I had a heart
15? Attack. That's what it was. So you put in the video to donate because it was right during that drive.
$19,000.
Yeah, wow. So
$19,000.
$20K basically.
Yeah.
And Only Indy Tickets actually approached us with that. So they're doing this. Tim and the rest of his crew over there are doing this.
Commitment to Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Only Indy Tickets.
How cool is that? I mean, it would have been easy for us to say, hey, do you want to do this? That's something that they were really proactive with, which I appreciate.
Also, Derek, this is the week for the Monon Bell game coming up on Saturday. You can see it right here. If you're not getting your tickets from Only Indy Tickets for that, you can see it right here on ISC Sports Network.
ISC Sports Network, Comcast 81, My Indy TV. It's streaming on ISC, Wish TV, YouTube, and I'm going to be doing sidelines for that game.
Really?
I've never done sidelines for anything. So I'm completely unqualified to do sidelines.
Who's doing the play-by-play?
I'm doing sidelines. Rake.
Okay.
Yeah. Rake and Walk. Did you know
Brad
Walker-Merca?
Sure, of course.
DePaul grad, former football player there from,
and then they got you because you're a little giant. So it balances out. DePaul and Wabash both, right?
Well, I am short and giant in other ways.
Okay. If you think so. That's coming up this weekend.
So I got to wear a suit.
Full slew of T-shirts available for the Monon Bell at the shop. We mentioned them earlier. TheShopIndy.com is the website. All the shirts from a college standpoint and, of course, talking about nostalgic shirts throughout Indiana culture, Indianapolis culture, and they're fabulous in terms of their quality, their comfort. TheShopIndy.com. Broderpool Avenue as well as Clay Terrace is where you can find that. Derek, they bring us each week our Buy It at Bull Schultz.
You ready to go?
Yep.
Jonathan Taylor, statement 1. Should be an MVP candidate. Buy it or bull bleep?
I will buy that. I don't think he's going to win the MVP, but assuming that Frank Reich starts using him the right way and he is in games late to salt away games and tabulate wins for the Colts, I will say, yes, I buy it. He will be an MVP level type.
Yeah, I think he's definitely an Opoy candidate for sure.
Opoy?
Yeah, Offensive Player of the Year.
Okay.
OPOY. It's a little more clunky to say OPOY, so people just refer to it as Opoy. I mean, if you look around the league, I think you would have said Matthew Stafford, but last night he was awful.
Bad.
Like who else? Right?
Josh Allen?
Maybe.
Default?
I mean, you would have said Derrick Henry.
Justin Herbert?
Before yeah, but even them, I mean, the Chargers have fallen off a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a weird year. It's a weird year because, I mean, even Kyler got hurt,
Kyler Murray's up there. He's way up there.
I'm sure there'll be teams emerge because teams always emerge, but we're at the halfway point of the season and you feel like, I know who the bad teams are. I just don't know who the great teams are. I think Arizona's really good. I think Tampa's I still think the Rams are really good. I think they had a horrible night.
They did. Look, teams
but
are
the
entitled
rest of
to
the
an off
league,
night.
You're like, what is this?
Buffalo also had a bad day.
I would agree with that. I mean, gun to my head, I still think Buffalo's the best team in the AFC. But that's a really hard decision to make.
That's fair.
I mean, God, they scored 6 points
The Ravens keep finding a way to win.
Yeah, barely. But they are finding ways. Statement 2, buy it or bull bleep. Alabama will not make the college football playoff.
I think it's bull Schultz. I think if they are close in the SEC title game or beat Georgia, they're in. Assuming they have no other blemishes.
I had originally thought that if they're close against Georgia, that they're going to get in. But at this point, I think we're late enough in the season where you still got an undefeated Oklahoma and Ohio State and Oregon. Oregon especially is going to be favored to run the table the rest of the way. Cincinnati too. If you've got a 2-loss non-SEC champ, I don't think they're getting in.
Okay, that's fair.
So, and I think Alabama's going to lose. I don't think they're going to. I do not think Alabama's going to go 12-1.
They're not
going to
beat Georgia.
Well, then
They're
you don't
not.
think that they're going to make the playoff, right?
But if they lose close and they're two, in the scenarios you present, if everybody else wins out, they're in trouble.
The best thing about your resume can't be a great loss. I think that's what we've learned about the College Football Playoff Committee. And Alabama will have wins against Ole Miss and Arkansas and Mississippi